welcome back to the studio. So tonight we are going to paint some flowers, and these flowers are, actually I don't know what these flowers are. I think these are black-eyed Susans. That's kind of what they look like to me. We have them out here. They grow all over the place. There's some kind of daisy-ish flower, something from that family anyways. And here they are, a nice bunch of flowers. I looked at this and I went, I am going to try to paint this in some sort of negative painting technique. Meaning I'm going to put a little color down, a touch up on the first flower, and then cover everything else except for that flower. Then I'm going to do the same with other flowers. I'm going to give a little touch up on those, cover everything except for the first flower and the second flowers, and continue on out until I'm done with what I want to do. I've started my process already by drawing my picture. Let me pin my photo up there. Here's the picture I've got. I don't know, there's 7, 8, something like that. Flowers in here, and I'm going to use this one as my center. This one's going to be the lightest, and then maybe a couple here, a little bit lighter, some here definitely back behind, and I can go on like that. Okay. I am using today my studio paint kit. It's got all my colors in it. As always, I've got my colors here. I've just tacked those up onto the tripod for the camera so we can see what they are, and I am going to go ahead and get started. So I'm just taking a medium-sized brush. Uh-oh, I got my pictures in my water. There we go. Sorry about that. Just got my medium-sized brush. I'm going to get some nice yellow. I'm going to start with some, what is this, Gamboge, new Gamboge. And I'm going to just lay it on here like this. Okay, I'm not going to worry about going all the way out to the side out here. I'm not going to worry about my colors being spread out exactly right. I'm going to end up putting a number of layers of paint on here by the time we're done, and I'm going to have used the hair dryer to dry this off. I will have done all kinds of things to this, so I'm not real worried about whether I can cover this page or whether I can't cover this page, or whether I splash on a few bits of paint like that. It's not going to matter. By the time we're done, we're going to have a crazy painting here. So there we go. There's my first layer. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to dry this. I'm going to paint in the center, this button in the center of this one, and paint some details on my petals. Then I'm going to paint the button and some of the details on the next one. Then I'm going to cover it with paint again, and then I'm going to duplicate the process. Okay, so let's give it a shot. Here we go. I'm going to give it a little dab with the hair dryer. Okay, here we are. We're back. My paper seems pretty dry. I should tell you before I go any further, I'm not using traditional watercolor paper for this. I wanted a little bit smoother surface. I'm using Strathmore Bristol paper for this. And that's it. No other particular reason other than the fact that I happen to have some handy, and it's nice and smooth, so I thought I would use it. I don't want a lot of color to get in some of the granules there and get in the pockets and make spots and everything. I want this to be, for the most part, pretty smooth here. So, alright, I've got my paint mixed over here. This is a mix of Maroon Perylene and burnt umber. And I'm going to come in, paint the button on this first flower just like that. There we go. And I know that on these petals there's a bit of red that comes out kind of like this. Okay, just like that, right on the edges of it. There isn't really the edge of the petal, you know, as the petal comes out like this, all the color is kind of in the center here, not out towards the edges. So I'm going to put that on like that so we can see that. And I'm actually going to dab a little bit of this darker right in the middle. There we go. Just I'm going to let that flow out a little bit. And I'm going to use this paint straight. What is this? This is my burnt umber. Straight right there. Maybe straight was a little too much. I'm just going to blend that out. There we go, something like that. I think that looks pretty good. I'm not trying to get this to be the perfect representation of this petal, right? This is kind of a fanciful thing here. It's not going to end up perfect. There we go. I think that's actually pretty good for that first one. So now I need to decide what I want to make my second one. I think I'm going to do this one here. And I got too much water on it. Done. Better. Just like that. And the reason I want to do this, I should explain this a little bit more. The reason I want to do this is because when I cover this painting up, or the rest of this painting up with water, my next step is to cover everything up except for this flower with yellow paint, right? That's going to make my first layer, well, I guess my second layer of paint on this negative painting. And so I want these buttons to look like they're back in the background, so I need to kind of put those on now, because as you see from this one, that color can get so dark so fast. So I'm just dabbing on a little bit of this color. We're going to dry this up, and then we're going to put another layer of paint on it. I know you're probably saying, well, that seems like a lot of layers of paint. It seems like a lot of work. That's okay. I'm okay with that. I hope you're okay with that, because watercolor painting is fun to do. I don't mind doing a little bit extra. Okay, so I think this is what I want. I'm going to go ahead and blast this with some air. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. This looks pretty dry now. If you were paying attention, you probably said, hang on just a second. You painted this flower, but you didn't paint the stem to that flower or any of the other flowers. I did that on purpose, I should say. I don't really want to put the stems that far back, and the couple of leaves I have here that far back. I'm going to use a lighter green later on, maybe with one layer to go, and that will that'll be far enough back for them. You'll see when we get there. Right now, though, I need to mix up a little bit more of my yellow. It's just off camera. Trust me, it's the same Gamboge yellow that I used for the rest of this. I'm going to go back to my brush, and I am just going to paint right over top of everything that is not that flower. Our first one, our primary one. There we go. Let me get a little bit more of that. You see, this is just going to repeat. I'm not even going to be real careful with it down here. Mostly concerned right around this flower. There we go. Just being real careful up there. If I don't get way out to the side, out here somewhere, or out here, it's not going to matter. That's going to fade to the back anyways. Let's see, I'm going to hit it with another shot of something like that or like that. I'm going to put some on a little thicker here and there. That's just going to give a little bit of extra variance in here. And I'm going to actually let some of this come right out. There we go. I don't know, whatever you like. I'm just looking at it and going, maybe I need something here, maybe I don't. Can I blend that out just a little bit? That looks good. So now I'm going to dry it. I'm going to paint the petals on these two and the buttons on the next two, and off we go. So I'm going to give it a shot with a hairdryer. I'll be right back. Okay, I think that's pretty good. Now if you're doing this on a piece of wood, kind of like I am, just a little piece of wood that I've got to tape to, then your wood's going to stay just a little bit warm, and it will dry, your paper will dry a little bit faster the second time around. So here we go. I'm just, again, dropping in a little bit of this color. Let's see in the center of some of these petals. Something like that on that one. There we go. Actually, I just want to pull that back up a little bit. And let's see, I've got this one to do. There we go. That color just runs out there a little bit. There's a petal right there. Almost forgot about that guy. Now I'm not going to paint the button on this one. I am going to paint just some real tiny veining on there. Not anything real detailed. Nothing you're really going to see, I think, in the long run when it's all said and done, but just enough so to give you the indication of the curve of that petal. So now I've got to decide what's my next buttons here. I think I'm going to use this one right here. Okay, and I think I'll use this one just like that, and I think just for a little bit of immediacy, so we don't make this video too long, I will do 1, 2, 3, the last 3 in the next step. Let me put that on, my little bit of darker color on. There we go. Just about like that. Let me give it a shot to dry it up, and we're ready to put our next color, yellow, on. So here we go. Alright, here we go. So now we've got to put color on everything except for this flower, and this flower. I'm going to need both brushes for this, I think. So I'm going to start back up here with this one and make sure I go down around this flower. I don't want to go on him, and I don't want to go on that flower either. There we go, just going around there. Let's put in some big strokes over there. I think as far in as I can get. Let's see, we go right over top of that one. Come right around. No, we don't go. We go over this one. Let's go over that one. I got it all wrong. And now you can see on this coat, that flower's popping out. These ones are really starting to pop out down here. See, I might need to get some more yellow, some more Gamboge here. Running out on my palette. There we go. Just get right in and around that one. The more layers we put on, the more this initial flower is going to pop out. I hope you guys can see this. I'm going to switch to a little smaller one so I can get into some of these cracks and crevices. There we go. So get right up in there for a little bit more detail on these. It's a little damp here, so I'm having a harder time drying the paper than I thought I was going to have, so I've got a little extra time that the paper is wet that I can go back in and touch up my work. I've noticed that this Bristol paper either seemingly holds the color for quite a long time, or if it's warm like it is right now, it dries out very quickly and you end up having a little bit of trouble with it. But I think we've got it all sorted out here. I think that looks pretty good. I'm going to give another splash over here. Maybe that one wasn't quite dark enough. I'm also going to, since we're just about done, second to the last layer here, I'm going to put in a little bit of my green, and I know that it's going to run a little bit. I am trying not to worry too much about that, given that I'm not doing a botanical representation of this. I'm just doing a fun sketch. There we go, right up there. Just a fun sketch of these. I'm hoping that the next layer of this color just covers that up just enough that it was going to look out of focus anyways, and it looks nice now. Let's see, I got one coming down here somewhere. I know I can see some of the lines. There we go. That's good. Before it runs out too much more, I'm just going to give it a shot. Did I do something wrong here? I think I forgot to paint something. That's okay. Did I forget to do that? I wish somebody would have told me. Sometimes I do that. Do things out of order. Forgot to paint these petals. Did I do that? Did I forget that? I don't know. I can't remember. It's not going to matter. This is still going to turn out great. There we go. That one. This one over here's got some. I think that's kind of what these flowers look like. I know I'm not supposed to really do this. I'm going to just touch that up just a little bit. There we go. Back to my Gamboge. Now you can't tell too much now of the Gamboge I'm putting on, of where the veining in these flowers really is. Let's see. There's that one. Comes down like that. Just a little bit of, you don't need much, just enough to give the indication of something. Too much really is too much. When it comes to this, we just want a bare little touch on there. I can't help myself just retouching these other ones just ever so slightly. And that's kind of okay. If you see something that needs a little enhancement there, we're just going to go back and do it. It's our painting. Hope you can tell us what exactly is right and what is wrong, but you want to limit yourself a little bit. You don't want to make the initial flower too dark. Let's see, I know now that before I do my next step, I've got to paint these buttons. I think I got plenty of paint on there. There's one. Where's the next one? Here it is. This is the problem when you start putting on layers of paint, is you've got to have some nice dark pencil lines or you're not able to see too much of it. Put some darkness down below there. There we go. Just roll that right around. I'm doing this just because I want to let you know, I want to give just the littlest indication that that is a round button. It's not a flat color. We don't want to make it a flat color. by putting this extra color, extra darkness on one side of it only, we are making it more 3D. So here we go. Let's see, I think our last step is we dry these, we put another layer of yellow on and just touch our leaves. Is that right? I think that's right. Let's give it a shot. Okay, I got it all dried off. I'm ready to put that last layer of yellow on here right over top of everything else. Just let me get that going. You can see I've really only got 3 colors on my palette here. I'm going to stick with my Gamboge yellow. And we're doing everything except for this one, that one, that one, that one, and that one now. Alright, let's see how it goes. I suppose this would have been a lot easier if I had simplified my drawing a little bit. But never mind, we're not going to worry about that now. We're just going to forge right ahead. Let's see. Or yellow out there. I think that needs to go out to the sides a little bit more. I don't think I have to worry quite so much about my flower in the center. I think it's going to be fine by itself. I do want to set this one off. And I do want to push all of these stems back a little bit. Well, I am almost out of my Gamboge. See, right around there. I think maybe I'll make that a little bit more orangey. There we go. I'll mix in a little bit of my red up there. Maybe I should mix in a little bit of blue down at the bottom. I don't think I'm going to do that. You know, I'm not quite that brave. I'm usually fairly brave and fairly willing to do a lot, but I think maybe not quite that brave today. Catch me on a different day, I might be more than willing to do that. Let's see, I'm just going to spread some of this paint way around now. Give a big splot of it here and there. Really throw that down. And we need to come back and paint just a couple of these petals and we're almost done. Or do we have another layer to go? I don't remember. We'll take a look at it and evaluate it as soon as we dry this off and see what it looks like. So let's do that. Okay, so let's get a little bit of our maroon brown mixture here. It's getting hard to see. This has got to be really kind of light in here. Almost not too much color at all. This is supposed to be way back in the back here. There's 1, 2, 3. These go pretty quick. Way back there. There's no detail to see. We're just dropping on a little bit of the color that would be on these petals. There we go, and I think we do need a little something to go around to set them off. I don't know that I have any more Gamboge to put out there. I've burned through just about all of it. I got just a smattering of it. So I'm going to put my next best thing here down, which is my Hansa yellow. And I'm basically just going to go around these guys. Maybe I'll put a little bit of color in there to set it off just so we can see that they're not quite the same as the background. Just a little bit. Going around here and there. Let's see where, let me make a nice color. There we go. Where's my next one? Here. There, a little bit of color in there. Just all you got to do is follow the curve of the petals that you've previously drawn on here. And each layer that you do, and you can do as many as you want. Whoops, I'm sorry, I have to turn this just a little bit. You do as many of these layers as you want. Each layer that you do is going to push things further back and further back and further back. And it's going to make it a little less transparent and a little more opaque. But if you want to push things way back, don't let it stop you. Don't be afraid of that. Just get on it, start doing it, test it out, see what happens. So here we go. I think this is about all I'm going to do on this one. I'm actually going to get just a little bit of this splatter to put on there, something like that, something to break up a little bit of that yellow. It's a lot of yellow on there. I didn't think it was going to be quite that bright. I'll put a little bit of green on here too. I think that will help a little bit. And there we go. I think that's pretty good. Let me give it a final dry and let's take a look at it. And here it is, our final painting. You can definitely see this one is so much lighter than these two and these ones are way back there, almost no brightness at all. I'm just going to sign this one and call it done. I hope you enjoyed seeing me do this. A loose, wet, negative painting of some Black-Eyed Susan daisies. I very much enjoyed having you in the studio with me tonight. If you like this, please give a like with a little thumbs up, down, I believe it's down here. Share this with your friends if you know somebody who might like to see it. Subscribe to my channel. I would love to see you back here in the studio with me painting another time. Thank you so much. Have a good night. Bye-bye.